Just want to introduce ourselves. My name is Mr. Rosado. We have Mr. RAGO and Mr. Woolford behind the camera. We're going to go over the progressions of how to pass and catch in lacrosse. And first, we just want to start out with a quick review of how to hold the lacrosse stick. So I have Matt next to me who's going to do it along while I say. And first, we want to start off with our non-dominant hand. If you are right-handed, it would be your left hand. If you're left-handed, it would be your right hand. But for right now, we're going to do right-handed. You put your left hand towards the bottom of the stick. And just to go over again, the bottom of the stick is called a butt end. And then our hand that's left here, our right hand, will go in the middle of the stick. And again, that's the shaft of the stick. And then also at top, we have the head of the stick. So to remember how to do that, remember non-dominant bottom, dominant in the middle. And now we're going to go over the cues for passing lacrosse ball. So I'm going to have Matt face a target that is straight ahead. Matt's going to have his hands again in the ready position on the stick. Now what we're going to do is, for Matt, he's going to step with his left foot forward while holding the stick up almost equal to shoulder length with your strong hand. And when you do that, after you do that, you're going to come forward, you're going to pull your bottom hand while pushing your middle hand towards your target. You're going to keep your back foot, and once you come forward, then you're going to put your forward and follow through, and the stick will come down as a follow-through motion. Hands, step, follow through. And then side view, go ahead.
Now my partner is going to be Mr. Rosado.
Right.
All right, so for our first activity, we're going to work on stationary passing to a target. Now what's essential about this activity is that we're really focusing on the skill of passing itself before putting our students in a more difficult situation. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to stand on this first cone, and Mr. Rosado is going to come back and stand at his first cone. All right, in a physical education setting, you'd like to get the most amount of repetitions as possible, especially when you're teaching a new skill to the students. So you don't want to make it too difficult, but you want to allow them to have enough repetitions where they can really master the skill. So to start, we're going to start at our first two cones, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my cues and I'm going to pass the ball to Mr. Rosado. We're going to take 3 passes just for the sake of this video. If time allows in your physical education classroom, please feel free to allow the students to have more reps. So to start, I want to have my non-dominant hand at the butt end, and I want to have my dominant hand at the middle of the shaft. I'm going to step forward with my non-dominant foot. I'm going to have the lacrosse stick about shoulder height, and I'm going to follow through and bring my back leg over. Once you feel that your students are able to complete accurate passes, you can then have them move back to a greater distance. So now, Mr. Rosado and I are going to move back to our second cone.
All right. Now that your students mastered stationary passing, we're going to move on to a more advanced situation, more game-like situation. We're going to be passing to a moving target. So for this activity, your students are going to be standing at a stationary position and passing to a moving target. The key with this one is lead your target so that it's more game-like. In this activity, you want to make sure that all your students feel successful and partner up accordingly.
All right, now for our third and final activity of passing and catching, we're going to have our students both move at the same time while they pass and catch with each other. Now, Tony here, he's in our ready position to pass the ball. Now, when we pass and catch with each other, we're all lefties and righties mixed up. So we have to remember one important thing. If you're going with a partner that is the same dominant hand as you, there will be times you're going to have to almost awkwardly catch the ball. However, I'll teach you quickly how to do that. Really, for a right-handed person, you keep your bottom hand down, your strong hand in the middle. Now, if the ball's coming from this side, I want to face my target, bring my stick over my body. Now, this is important. The head of the stick must face your partner. Therefore, you can catch the ball cradle like we learned previously to bring it back into ready throwing position.
This final activity, we're both going to be running in motion and passing. So we have a starting line, and then we also have a finish line. Going down these two lines, we'll be passing back and forth.
In closing, we'll briefly go over the critical elements taught for passing a lacrosse ball. Now, you want to take the lacrosse stick with your non-dominant hand, which in my case would be my left hand. Mr. ROSADO's case, it would be his right hand. So we'll take your non-dominant hand and grab the butt end of the stick. Then you want to take your dominant hand and grab the middle part of the stick. Now, when passing, you want to get in a nice athletic position. You're going to step with your non-dominant foot. Make sure that the lacrosse stick is just about shoulder height, and then you want to push your top hand and pull your bottom hand, just as if you're using a catapult. So it's a push and pull technique. Push your top hand, pull your bottom hand, and then follow through with your opposite leg, square to your target. It's very important that when teaching students a new skill, use a progressive teaching style. And what that means is you don't want to overwhelm your students. You may have students with all different skill levels and different experiences. You may have a student who's a novice. You may have a student who's advanced. So you want to try and challenge them all in their own way. So just as we had a progression, stationary throwing to a stationary target, and then stationary throwing to a moving target. And finally, we wrapped up both partners were moving while throwing to a moving target. This will help students gain skills to help in more of a game-like situation, and it will allow them to become much more successful at that particular skill.